as Hurricane Katrina pounds Louisiana and Mississippi. Stay with 11 News for the most complete coverage of this killer storm. Live reports throughout the day and night, showing you the latest pictures of the devastation. From the eye of the storm to Katrina's impact on Houston, 11 News has more reporters covering this story from every angle. And turn to hurricane expert Dr. Neil Frank for the most reliable track of Katrina. For the most up-to-the-minute coverage of Katrina, trust 11 News. Now, 11 News at 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lisa Ferranda.
And I'm Greg Hurst. Thanks for joining us.
We're starting with the latest in the aftermath of Katrina. New Orleans mayor says it is not unreasonable to think 10,000 people in his city are dead. President Bush visited victims in a Baton Rouge shelter and defended the government response.
As his father and former President Clinton joined forces to organize a giant relief effort, and residents near the Crescent City viewed the damage done to their homes for the first time.
It may be a national holiday, but the work goes on here in Houston. The city council met in an emergency session to address the colossal challenge which is now facing the city. Its members approved $10 million for relief efforts, with all of that money coming from Houston Street and Bridge Construction Fund. The mayor said he hopes to be reimbursed and again promised no tax increase.
The former President Bush and President Clinton were in Houston today to announce a new fund to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. 11 News reporter Doug Miller was there as the presidents asked for your help to rebuild.
A parade of political leaders, past and present, spent part of this Labor Day touring Reliance Center.
These kinds of things take time, and so I hope we can just hang on and, keep people together a little while longer and then sort out all their individual circumstances.
Former Presidents Bush and Clinton came to drum up support for their hurricane relief effort.
We will turn this money over to the governors, who will then decide how best to use it. We felt strongly that the governors needed funds at their disposal, since they're the ones who will be most responsible for rebuilding their states.
Here on the floor of the Astrodome, it is messy, but all over the place you see signs that people are sort of settling in. After all, a week after Katrina struck New Orleans, this is becoming a temporary home.
And the strongest will help the weakest, okay? So be strong, all right?
Evacuees sheltered at the Astrodome appreciated all this political attention.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful they're stepping up and trying to help.
But with the presence of political leaders comes political criticism.
The Libby's is built for, at best, a level 3 hurricane. But 4s and 5s are coming more rapidly now because something is happening with the ozone layer. So now, ozone layer and environmental security is a part of national and global security.
Please report section 262.
But in here, it's clear personal security is now the top priority for Katrina survivors camped out in Houston.
The population of the Astrodome is gradually beginning to go down. Buses are pulling up and they're taking people away to apartment complexes and other places where they're going to try to rebuild their lives while Louisiana rebuilds after Katrina. Live at the Astrodome, Doug Miller, 11 News.
You can head to our website, KHOU.com, to donate to the national or the Houston Bush-Clinton-Katrina relief effort, or just mail in donations to this address. Attention, the Bush-Clinton-Houston Hurricane Relief Fund at P.O. Box 4624, Houston, Texas 77210-4624. You can also phone credit card donations to the Houston Relief Fund at 713-694-5570. That phone bank is staffed by Gallery Furniture employees.
Back east, for the first time in more than a week, thousands of Jefferson Parish residents were allowed back into the hard-hit area to assess the damage. 11 News reporter Vicente Arenas was there and has more on the devastation from New Orleans.
Mangled trees, downed power lines, and flooded out homes everywhere in Jefferson Parish.
My nerves is just all upset.
73-year-old Vessie Dyer is getting a first look at her home since Katrina passed.
From what I saw just now, I done lost a lot. All my furniture and all the floors is a different color. The walls is all wet up.
Dyer's home took in 3 feet of water. She and her husband saw what little is left.
I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Like I said, I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't think the water would get us.
The Dyers were among the first wave of Jefferson Parish residents allowed back in to check their homes for the first time. Phyllis Dean held her breath.
Yeah, we had to gut the whole house out. Everything was all mildew.
Philistine's sister lives in Houston. She has other family there now, and her home is pretty much like all the others in the Jefferson Parish area. They stink, they're full of mildew, and they already have mold. And the bigger problem now is that they don't have water and they don't have electricity. As you can see behind me, there is still a lot of cleanup to do. This is downtown New Orleans, where there is still standing water, so there is a long time before the recovery effort is complete. Reporting live in New Orleans, Vicente Arenas, 11 News.
Vicente, there was some concern. Do we still have Vicente? Okay, Vicente, there was some concern about emergency officials not getting into Jefferson Parish early enough, and there were many complaints, especially from the parish president. Have they seen more relief coming in now?
Okay, Lisa, I had a problem where I had two people talking in my ear at once. I apologize for that. I think that you were asking me regarding the problems with FEMA earlier. People are still upset, they're still disappointed, and they're wondering when the help will come. But one of the bigger concerns now is that a lot of the folks that we talked to today say they're waiting for help from the Red Cross. They dial those 1-800 numbers and they can't get through. So no matter where you turn around, they can't get help. What do they need? Well, a lot of them say they just want a place to stay, so they can be close to their homes until this entire cleanup is done, until they can get some electricity and some water.
All right, Vicente Arenas in New Orleans, thanks.
There are thousands of families that have been separated. Countless names are up on a wall of missing at the Astrodome.
We have been contacted by many evacuees asking us to let people know they're okay or to help them find someone. You can go to KHOU.com for more information on how to get in contact with missing loved ones.
How you doing? I'm Jared Thomas. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm now in Houston at the Convention Center. If you need me, I'm okay. I'm looking for Gwendolyn Palmer, Edward Thomas, Rosalie Thomas, Paul Thomas, and George McCormick. I'm in Houston and I'm fine.
I have 5 kids out there somewhere and I don't know where. Former presidents come to the Astrodome to extend a helping hand and a promise of help.
To me, it seems like nothing was planned, nothing was organized.
Former President Clinton gets an earful about the horror evacuees experienced at the Superdome.
And President Bush returns to the battered coast to assure victims more help is on the way.
Good evening, I'm Greg Hurst.
And I'm Jerome Gray. Thanks for joining us. There are several new developments today in the aftermath of Katrina, including New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin's estimation that some 10,000 are dead in his city alone.
We have live reports from Houston all the way to the French Quarter, but first, let's get you up to the minute. There were signs of recovery today in New Orleans when the Army Corps of Engineers said that these large pumps could begin pulling water out of the city by day's end.
Meanwhile, the New Orleans police chief is urging the remaining less than 10,000 people in the city to evacuate. And residents in the New Orleans suburb of Jefferson Parish were allowed to return briefly today to survey the damage and salvage whatever they could.
Former presidents George Bush and Bill Clinton were at Reliant Park today, meeting victims and calling on everyone to help.
They've established the Bush-Clinton-Katrina Fund, and we'll tell you how you can donate in just a minute. But first, 11 News reporter Doug Miller is live at the Astrodome with more. Doug?
Now, today's the day when some of the nation's political leaders came here to Houston to check out the situation here. And also, perhaps inevitably, the discussion took a political spin as 2 former presidents toured the Astrodome to check in on victims of Katrina. Labor Day, just another day in the new life of Katrina's evacuees.
You know they're there. I know they're there. I thought that.
A day when 2 former commanders-in-chief became consolers-in-chief.
I think that the country owes Texas a debt of gratitude for doing this. It's been amazing.
The former presidents came here to call for contributions to their relief fund.
And it's going to take all of us working together, the public, the nonprofits, the private sector, to accomplish our goal. The job is too big and it's too overwhelming for any one group.
Here on the floor of the Astrodome, it is messy, but all over the place you see signs that people are sort of settling in. After all, a week after Katrina struck New Orleans, this is becoming a temporary home. Perhaps inevitably, the problem has taken a political spin.
This last session, we cut the budget for the levee, security. So between the tax cuts for the wealthy and the expenditure in Iraq, we fortified Baghdad and left New Orleans vulnerable.
But let's try to do what we can to help them now, and then we can worry about all of the reasons why this happened later.
But as political figures hustle through Houston, this hard life of the hurricane evacuee goes into its second week. And out here at the Astrodome, we are told that the population inside is starting to dwindle just a bit. Nonetheless, there are so many people inside the dome right now that they're imposing what amounts to a curfew. They're calling it house rules, but anybody who wants to be inside the dome tonight has to be there inside by 11 o'clock this evening. Let's see if we can check out something behind us. I don't know if we can see that behind us back here, but there's some people walking around with a banner that says, "New Orleans thanks Houston," over and over when you walk around here and you talk to people. They look exhausted, they look very tired, but when you ask how you doing, they say, "We're doing a whole lot better than we were a couple of days ago, and y'all are treating us great." You hear that message over and over out here, and that's the message that two former presidents and a number of political leaders heard today as they toured the facilities out here around the Reliant Astrodome. Reporting live from the Astrodome, Doug Miller, 11 News.
You can head to our website, KHOU.com, to donate to the national Bush-Clinton-Katrina effort. And there's also a spot there that is the Bush-Clinton-Houston hurricane relief effort. You can also mail your donations into this address. Attention, the Bush-Clinton-Houston Hurricane Relief Fund. That's a P.O. Box 4624, Houston 77210-4624. You can also phone credit card donations to 713-694-5570. That phone bank is staffed by Gallery Furniture employees.
And a reminder, with the vast number of people being housed at the Astrodome, the post office has given the location its own zip code. To send mail to someone, address it to that person, then write general delivery and the zip 77230. The George R. Brown Convention Center, which is also housing thousands, now has its own zip code as well. It is 77247. Remember, you must put general delivery under the addressee's name for the zip code as well.
I sat down with former President Bush today. He talked about this catastrophe, its impact on Houston, and his effort to raise money to help defray some of the cost for helping those in need here in Houston. But Mr. Bush realizes even the best of intentions are not always welcome.
Whatever you do, you get criticism. Whatever you do, there's going to be some Monday morning quarterback or somebody out there wanting to hammer you. And but how anybody could criticize Houston for opening its arms to these refugees, I don't know. Maybe we got some selfish people that'll say that. We don't need any more people here. How are we going to going to interfere with my traffic? I wouldn't be concerned about that.
But he is somewhat concerned about those who criticize the federal government's response to the crisis.
Out of this will come better preparations or better contingency plans around New Orleans. I'm sure of it. You learn from tragedies. But to say that they should have foreseen everything, I find that difficult. But let all that, as President Clinton put it pretty well today, let's get going with this, and then there'll be plenty of time to have hearings, and what I would add to that, posturing, and let them assign blame. But right now, I think people see the president cares and is trying to do what he can.
You know, the president has said New Orleans will come back, but if it doesn't come back in its truest form, how do you think that will end up changing Houston?
Well, I don't know. I think we've already gotten a lot of people coming over here, finding apartments, maybe some opening businesses. I was talking to Jim McIngvale about it, and he said they've sold lots of furniture to people, new people coming, and this is just starting. So I think we're going to have an influx of citizens, but we got the room and we got the heart, and it'll be good.
In the meantime, he hopes the nation will look to Houston's response to the crisis as a model for crisis care.
Well, the Times-Picayune, Louisiana's largest newspaper out of New Orleans, published an open letter to President Bush today. It reads, "We're angry, Mr. President, and will be angry long after our beloved city and surrounding parishes have been pumped dry." It goes on to say every official at the Federal Emergency Management Agency should be fired, Director Michael Brown especially.
Dozens of HISD buses are back home tonight after making a trip to New Orleans to rescue storm victims. More than 140 district buses were sent to Louisiana after an urgent request from the state's governor. The buses were used to pick up wheelchair-bound storm victims and others who needed help.
It brought nearly all of us to tears several times.
I saw people that were tired, hungry, and they seemed like they didn't have much hope. There were dead bodies laying around. There was a stench of death everywhere.
HISD says thousands of evacuated children are expected to enroll in schools here beginning tomorrow.
As we mentioned, people living in the New Orleans suburb of Jefferson Parish were allowed back to their homes briefly today. 11 News reporter Vicente Arenas traveled with some of them and joins us now live from the French Quarter. Vicente?
Okay, Jerome, I've lost audio in my ear, but I'm going to start talking anyway, hoping that you can hear me. I can tell you that today, when people were returning to Jefferson Parish, they tell me that they knew there would be some kind of damage, but they didn't know exactly how much. I want to show you some of the video that we took when we went into that neighborhood. They went into their homes, and we arrived just a couple of minutes after some of the families have gotten there, and they said that they didn't expect that much damage. You drive through the neighborhood, and you see the power lines are down and the trees are down, and it really doesn't look that bad until you walk into some of the homes. You can see that some of them took 3 feet of water, and it's somewhat deceiving because when you drive down the streets, you cannot tell very much that there was a flood there. So for now, they're basically trying to go through and clean up their homes and get back on their feet again. But many of them very upset. They don't know what to do. They don't have electricity. They don't have water. They can only come into Jefferson Parish for a while, and then they have to leave once again after the curfew at 6 o'clock. Some of them a little bit angry, or I should say very angry, because they called the 1-800 numbers for FEMA and for the Red Cross. They're not able to get through. They're not able to get help. Their home is a complete mess. What do they do next? They really don't know, and they're looking for answers. It could be a while before they get them. Behind me, you can see here in downtown New Orleans, there is still water. There are still some rescue efforts going on. So it's going to be a while before any of those folks get some answers. So a very, very disturbing and stressful time for them. Reporting live from downtown New Orleans, Vicente Arenas, 11 News.
The owners of Red Lobster and Olive Garden food chains are doing their part to find lost employees. Darden Restaurant, which is the parent company, was looking for employees at the Brown Convention Center today, searching for 75 missing crew members. They say so far they've only been able to find 1. They say those employees will be given a check, relocated when they are found, and given a job.
Representatives of Pep Boys Auto Parts store showed up at the Astrodome today offering jobs. They say they've found everything from mechanics to welders, many who used to work for Pep Boys. They're also offering cashier jobs.
Still ahead at 6.
Go and see what I have left.
For the first time since Katrina hit, some people are allowed home to inspect the damage.
The president makes a second trip to the hurricane-ravaged area to offer reassurances to storm victims.
God bless you.
And Oprah arrives in Houston. Hear what she hopes to accomplish here.
While President Bush returned to the hurricane-ravaged area, some evacuees got their first peek at their damaged property.
And rescuers are finding out some survivors don't want to leave. Reporter Angela Katrina is live in Kenner, Louisiana to tell us about today's developments. Angela?
Greg and Jerome, well, thousands of people are still out there. That's what authorities tell us. They believe they're stranded in the city. Some are clearly holed up in their homes and don't want to leave. But we've seen evidence that plenty do, and they're being rescued. Every hour, several helicopters arrive filled with survivors, many disoriented and very traumatized. We saw one man wearing 2 different shoes. He had to grab what he could and escape at that moment. Now, celebrities are joining this effort to help rescue and draw attention to the plight of these survivors. Sean Penn is in town. And we also had huge traffic jams today on the outskirts of New Orleans, leading into a parish where for the first time residents are allowed to go in and review the damage. The lines into Jefferson Parish on the outskirts of New Orleans stretched for miles. Residents have until Wednesday to salvage what they can. As they got their first look at the damage, President Bush made his second trip to the devastated Gulf Coast, vowing continued federal help.
So long as anybody's life is in danger, we got work to do.
Celebrities like Sean Penn have joined the rescue effort.
Well, I'm shocked, as everybody is, at the lack of federal response down here. It's beyond comprehension.
Several thousand people are still missing. Some may be trapped in their homes. Others refuse to leave.
We are working with them and talking to them and trying to convince them that there is absolutely nothing here for them to stay. No jobs, no food, or any reason for them to stay.
Now, the New Orleans Police Department is also dealing with another priority, trying to rotate out some of these officers who've been working almost around the clock, dealing with this crisis before the storm hit. They're also coping with 2 suicides on the force and as many as 500 officers who are missing. Some they believe went out to look for relatives and check on their homes, but others they know just walked off the force because they could not deal with the crisis. Back to you, Jerome and Greg.
All right. Thanks, Angela.
We'll get a check on our weather next.
Plus word of more tropical activity brewing when we come back.
My name is Mary Joseph. I'm in Houston, Texas. Apollo. Well, they call him Apollo, but his name is Harold Park. If you see me, come and get me.
We'll air more of those pleas throughout this newscast.
11 News hopes this small effort will help families reunite.
Meanwhile, a couple of cruise ships pulled into Galveston today.
But these Carnival ships aren't for vacationers, they're for evacuees. 11 News reporter Jason Whiteley is in Galveston to explain. Jason?
Well, Jerome, right now, Carnival Cruise Lines is telling us it's going to park 2 of its cruise ships here at the Port of Galveston for at least the next 6 months. Take a look here. These 2 cruise ships, number 1 is the Carnival Ecstasy. The second cruise ship is the Carnival Sensation. Both pulled out of service this afternoon and leased out to FEMA. Now, we've learned that evacuees at the Astrodome are applying this evening as we speak to get cabins on board these cruise liners. Those evacuees who are 65 and older will get top priority. Vacationers who had cruises scheduled are getting refunds and bonuses to rebook on other Carnival ships. This is an unusual idea for a shelter, and FEMA says an unprecedented one too.
We've never used cruise ships before. We've considered it as an option. As a matter of fact, we considered it as an option last year during the Florida hurricanes, but we are able to identify other housing options to help people. But this disaster is so extraordinary. The housing needs are so great. It's a big deal. It's very unusual. But I think the bottom line is going to help some people out who really need help.
At least 2,600 evacuees from the Astrodome will start moving from the Astrodome area down here to the Port of Galveston to get cabins on board these cruise ships first thing in the morning. Again, these ships are not going to leave dock, but will have to move down a few slips where they will stay in port loaded with evacuees at least through February or March. Reporting live in Galveston, Jason Whiteley, 11 News.
Oprah Winfrey is in town.
Deborah Duncan sat down with her this afternoon to talk about her relief efforts.
I'm Breon Jesse, and I'm looking for my brother Carlos Jr. Smith, and he's 13 years old.
Talk show host Oprah Winfrey visited with evacuees on the floor of the Astrodome today.
Her show will broadcast from Houston tomorrow and air as usual right here on Channel 11 at 4. Deborah Duncan spoke with Oprah today.
You've got a city within this dome. So you've got every person with every, hope and dream and, desire for fulfillment. You've got every diabetes, and you've got high blood pressure, and you've got all the illnesses. You've got people who are mentally ill. You got people who are on drugs. People who are on drugs can't get the drugs, coming off of drugs. It's a mixed population here. So I was walking through and hearing some people complaining and most people just grateful. And a woman came up to me and said, "Thank God for Houston." She said, "Thank God for Houston and everybody here. I've never felt so much love." So I think, first of all, the city, this mayor that opened its arms when nobody really knew what to do. I'm sitting in Chicago going, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? You all stood up and said, this is what we're going to do.
What was it like, the emotions that go through you when you walk through the floor and people flock to you, not as a celebrity, but as a face of hope? They look at you as hope.
Well, I feel blessed that can happen, that people realize that my show is more than just a show, that, we are a symbol for what can be possible for people. And so as I'm walking through the floor and I've heard everybody's story and then everybody starts talking at the same time, what I realize is that what has happened here is a microcosm of what needs to happen by the whole country. And I am so inspired by what Houstonians have done.
You've seen the devastation.
Next, see what's still standing in Bay St. Louis. Over the past week, we have seen the horrifying images of the sheer force of Mother Nature, but tonight, what some are calling a symbol of hope.
Bay St. Louis, Mississippi was devastated by the storm. As far as the eye can see, only concrete slabs where homes and buildings used to sit, except at the seminary, where a statue of Jesus and a church were unscathed. Not even a window blown out.
Look for hope wherever you can find it.
Miraculous indeed. That is our news for now. Thanks for joining us.
We're back here tonight at 10 o'clock. Hope to see you then. Have a great night.
Good night.
We're there as some residents of Jefferson Parish go back to their homes for the first time.
I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't think the water would get us.
Tens of thousands of homes are still submerged as the rescue effort rolls on, and help from above starts to fall.
Former Presidents Bush and Clinton come to Houston as our city rallies to help.
Yes, we failed once, but we don't want to fail a second time. Let's work on the people. Then at some point down the road, there should be a commission. We should analyze this.
11 News has a one-on-one with former President Bush and with Oprah.
Her message at the Dome, one of hope and inspiration.
That you are not refugees. You're not evacuees. You are survivors.
Good evening, I'm Greg Hurst.
And I'm Lisa Ferranda. Thanks for joining us for another expanded version of 11 News at 10.
We'll be with you for the next hour, taking you live to Louisiana, to Reliant Park and the Brown Convention Center. But first tonight, the facts. As you look at more of the images coming out of New Orleans.
That city's mayor is now estimating a death toll of at least 10,000.
Engineers have now plugged a levee break, and the water is said to be going down.
Residents of Jefferson Parish have started returning home to salvage what they can.
The New Orleans police chief says as many as 500 of the 1,600-member force are unaccounted for.
And Houston City Council has approved spending $10 million to help evacuees. Our live coverage begins tonight in Baton Rouge with 11 News reporter Vicente Arenas. Vicente?
Yeah, Lisa, there was a lot of anxiety today as finally people from Jefferson Parish were allowed to return to their homes. They were anxious because the law had not allowed them to go back, but as I mentioned, they're finally being allowed to return home. This area is right east, I should say west of downtown New Orleans. There are thousands of homes here, and today thousands of people were going to check on their belongings. Both outside and in. Hurricane Katrina had people in Jefferson Parish cleaning up. It was the first time they got to see their homes since Katrina hit.
And this is the first time I saw it in this shape. We have had a little water, but just didn't bother too much. It wasn't that everything was soaked up in water.
Most of the damage in this neighborhood near the airport was done by water. Some homes had no damage at all.
Thank goodness. Just because there's no water on the ground and stuff, we're hopeful that our house is going to be one of the ones that get electricity back.
Catherine Frazier wishes she could say the same.
You try not to think about it because if you let it get to you, then you stop and nothing happens.
You cry.
You cry, you break down.
The Fraziers have lost just about everything. Plenty of hurt, little help.
I mean, going from home to home and not being able to have a home to call your own, basically, you know, because you don't have a bed to sleep in or anything like that, you know.
And this is the reason it happened. This is some fresh home video of Hurricane Katrina as she rolled into St. Bernard Parish down around Chalmette. This was taken by a man who decided to stay there. You can see trees whipping in the wind as the storm moved ashore. Of course, as you may have heard by now, St. Bernard Parish is one of the areas that was very hard hit. There are many people that are dead there. There's flooding and a major environmental disaster with an oil spill there. Home video that was taken by a gentleman who decided to ride out the storm there. All kinds of stories out of New Orleans and Louisiana tonight, and this is a story that will certainly go on for weeks, months, and perhaps even years. Lisa, back to you.
All right, Vicente Arenas, thanks.
As you've seen, food and water is now being dropped into New Orleans. 11 News reporter Jim Douglas rode along with the help from above.
If you wondered, as we have, how there could possibly be so many victims, here's how.
This is St. Bernard Parish, perhaps the worst hit and still the least accessible. This is why officials believe the death toll could reach into the thousands. They don't know who or what is under these rooftops, and the rooftops stretch out of sight.
Okay, flight controls hold. Coming to fly.
Texas Guard helicopter crews got ordered here at 6 a.m. Tuesday. They took off at 9 a.m. and arrived by afternoon.
You could point your aircraft in any direction, and there was just thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So we started lifting.
All day long, we're out here for 14 hours, seeing tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And it basically feels like we've done about 10 years of work compressed into 1 week.
These crew members have helped a lot of Texas flood victims over the years. They've been out here for a week now. They have transported more than 500 sick and elderly people. Now they're delivering supplies to those who are still stranded.
These are also the crews plugging the dikes.
How much have you put in?
I've been working it 2 days, and I've put in probably about 120 bags.
The bags of gravel weigh about 7,000 pounds each. Black Hawk crew chief Slim Simmons.
About 135. I'm a little guy.
Doing a big job.
Thank you.
On this mission, we dropped MREs and water to rural fire crews still on the job. That cleared space to pick up 12 city workers and 1 state representative from St. Bernard Parish. This is the easy part. The toughest part of this job, they say, is having to leave people behind.
As you're lifting off and you're looking into those faces, man, it really made it difficult to go to sleep that night. Going back to base, having a cot, having a hot meal, and knowing that they're all still sitting out there on their rooftops, on runways, on front lawns, and there's nothing for them.
President Bush and the First Lady were on the ground again today, this time in Poplarville, Mississippi. He told hurricane victims everything possible will be done to restore communities devastated by Katrina. Earlier, he was in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. We'll have much more on his tour later in this newscast.
In the meantime, here at home, hundreds, perhaps thousands of volunteers are providing care in the crisis.
11 News reporter Nancy Holland is live at Reliant Park. Nancy?
Greg and Lisa, tonight there are some new names here. This is called Dome City, Arena City, Center City. And they're not calling it a curfew, they're calling it house rules. They are telling people they need to be inside one of these cities by 11 o'clock tonight. In what is now called Dome City, everything is measured before and after the storm.
His name is Chico.
They are grateful for good-hearted attempts to brighten their lives. But nothing is normal, not the little things.
I'm used to drinking my coffee in the morning. I haven't had a cup of coffee, you know. But a cup of coffee wouldn't help me, you know, adjust to this.
And not what amounts to a stroll through their bedroom by national leaders. Although the people here are also grateful for that interest.
My job, as a senator, is to do whatever I can to persuade my colleagues to take care of these people.
Perhaps the greatest hope for raising money and support is with Presidents Clinton and Bush.
We're working on that now.
Who raised millions for tsunami victims and have been asked to do what they call suit up again, to do the same for victims of what has been called America's tsunami.
First, we've discovered that we get along pretty well. Surprising the heck out of a lot of people, but we do, and I'm proud to say it here in my hometown. But mainly we're most anxious to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Eventually the money will be turned over to state governors. But that is weeks, months in the future. So for now, it is still about thousands of individuals still trying to reassemble pieces of normal life. A student in beauty school comes to fix hair. She volunteers. It's what she has to give.
I know in a situation like this, some people would think that this may not mean much, but I've met so many wonderful friends.
They may be the most valuable styles she ever does.
Well, really, truly, it's kind of like help lift you up, you know. To me, it does.
But the only way life will ever even approach normalcy is when families can find each other.
I'm looking for my granddaughter.
And when it comes to finding families, this former Astrodome theater is still a place of drama.
Do you want to tell her, are you all right?
This is ACT, or the Astrodome Community Technology Center, a place where people could come to post messages telling others they are alive and where they can be found. This disaster has pointed out a frustrating lack of national emergency database where people can search.
Lots of families, especially ladies and their children, got on the bus and they wouldn't let the husbands on, or babies are separated from their parents.
Evacuees must add themselves to the database for it to work. But it does work. A mouse click produced the name of this woman's brother.
So we had him paged.
And very shortly, the brother himself.
I was totally shocked because I love my family so much.
It is frustrating, even heartbreaking, when the names don't appear on screen. But the database grows daily, and relief could come with tomorrow's search.
And we were in Dome City tonight. It has shrunk by several hundred people. Still thousands that are here, but at least for now, no more are coming to Houston. Live at Dome City, Nancy Holland, 11 News.
FEMA is leasing 3 Carnival cruise ships to house some of the oldest evacuees. 2 of them, the Ecstasy and Sensation, are docked in the port of Galveston. 4,000 people will be transferred to the ships beginning tomorrow morning, and there's no telling how long they'll be there. But the government has leased the ships for 6 months.
Still ahead in this broadcast, more from former President Bush as we bring you excerpts from a one-on-one interview I had with him earlier today.
And as you just heard Nancy say, thousands of families have been separated. Hundreds of names are up on a wall of the missing at the Astrodome. We here at Channel 11 have been contacted by many evacuees asking us to let friends or family know they're okay or to help them find someone. You'll hear from some of those folks periodically through this newscast. It's another effort on our part to help with a situation that is simply overwhelming.
My name is Carol Wharton. I'm looking for Sarita Burton. That's my sister. Sarita Burton. That's my sister. We left her in New Orleans. Tell her we're in Houston.
Looking live now at a picture from Reliant Park in Dome City. Here are the latest numbers of evacuees now calling Houston home.
There are 17,500 in the Astrodome, 3,800 at Reliant Center, and 2,300 at Reliant Arena.
There are also 1,300 at the George R. Brown Convention Center downtown.
Right now, we want to take you back to Baton Rouge and 11 News reporter Jeff McShann.
Yes, Craig, we can tell you that, as you reported at the top of the show, the New Orleans Police Department has 1,600 officers. And earlier today, the deputy police chief announced that some 400 to 500 have been unaccounted for at this time. We know that some of them have walked off the job. But now there is a massive relief force in town, in the city, giving those officers that stayed and survived some much-needed rest. It's been an exhausting week for the New Orleans Police Department. Just check out this officer inside his car. But help has arrived. There's the military, the state police, and volunteers cooking food.
And we're going to stay here until they don't need our help no more.
We're starting to get some thank yous and all, but initially, brother, it was rough out there. We're trying to rescue people, we're dodging bullets. And
Captain Bayard says for several days the department patrolled the streets alone, without communication, and with unimaginable obstacles that have been talked about often. And for some of them, it was simply too much. They walked away.
For a guy to quit the department when we're in the middle of this crisis, I don't have any use for him. You turn your back on your brothers, and the police department's a brotherhood. We all wear one color, blue. And this guy's going to turn, they walk away. That's ridiculous. Yep.
But as we mentioned, they're getting back up now, and this city has turned the corner towards safety.
We're making good burglary arrests and everything right now. So, that's what's positive about it. That's the good part about it. And if the guys are working, they make an arrest, they don't care how the hell tired they are, because if you burglarize a house after this, you are no good SOB, brother. You understand what I'm saying? And you need it.
That is your typical New Orleans police officer right there. The captain was very passionate about his job, and we can tell you that they have a little bit more oomph in their step now because they've got this massive relief force, as we mentioned, the military on every corner. We saw police departments from all across the country. So these guys are smiling now and getting some rest when they can in their cars. And Baton Rouge, back to you.
All right, Jeff, thanks.
Now back to our continuing coverage of the aftermath of Katrina and the crisis caused by the hurricane. Thousands of school-aged children from Louisiana will now attend school in Houston, and they will all need school supplies.
Some Houston kids are taking care of that. Today they sorted and packed up hundreds of school supply kits to be distributed to 7 local school districts. More supplies are needed, and you can drop them off at your nearest fire department. Also, donating to the local storm victims is as easy as taking out the trash.
If you use Houston City Trash Service, you can put clothing, non-perishable food, and toiletries in a grocery bag by the curb. Make sure you mark that as donations on your regular trash day. It will be picked up for distribution to those who need it.
You've seen some of the rescues that took place today, but there were many, many more. 11 News reporter Gary Reeves is among those following the life-saving mission.
In a city underwater, on-ramps become boat ramps. And firefighters from Fort Worth and Denton, Austin and Houston are on the move, searching for those still stranded.
What did you do yesterday?
We brought out about 250 people. They've done that many and more every day since day one. Today it's Fort Worth Fire on the boats, going house to house, saving lives by the boatload.
It wasn't Mardi Gras.
It wasn't Mardi Gras, right?
From the ramp, Denton firefighters trucked them to triage. Some, like rapper MAR, have managed to remain strong.
When a storm come, a hurricane come, they tell you to evacuate. Got a secret for you. Evacuate.
But many more are sick. This man is a diabetic. His lady friend has asthma.
We've been sending everything, but we stay like in a cutoff and look like they get lost when they come through there. So they'll make another turn on us.
As they were getting care, President Bush flew over on Marine One. But to these folks on the ground, the real heroes from Texas are called Task Force One.
Many of Houston's newest residents finding shelter here are taking the first steps in the long process of rebuilding what was lost. 11 News reporter Mike Zentak has more on the evacuees' plans for a new beginning.
Some evacuees are spending their 5th and 6th days at the Dome, and they're doing what they can to pass the time.
You gonna finish that puzzle?
I'm gonna try.
But the reality is setting in. This is only a temporary fix. Most aren't sure where they'll put down permanent roots.
I don't know where I'm going to go. I haven't made up my mind yet where I'm going to go.
With jobs back home gone, many of these people simply want to start working again. One evacuee had work as a cook and wants to do the same here in Houston.
It is hard, but I'm saying whatever happens, I have to accept it and to start all over.
These people are so nice.
Heather Carson also says Houston is in her future and her 7-week-old sons.
It's a wonderful place to be. The people welcome you with open arms, you know what I'm saying? It's better than New Orleans.
New clothes are one of the first wobbly steps toward a new life. But for those staying here, the question is, where will they live?
And some elderly evacuees have already been taken to assisted living centers here in Houston, while local housing officials are trying to find apartments or even mobile homes for other evacuees. But a state senator from Louisiana said something interesting here today. He said he'd like to find space at military bases in Louisiana so evacuees could go back to their home state. Reporting from Alliant Park, Mike Zentek, 11 News.
The Dave Matthews Band performing tonight in the Woodlands.
The group is donating part of its ticket sales to the Houston Food Bank, a worthy charity which has gone through 1 million pounds of food in just the past 3 days. Okay, right after this, former President Bush's thoughts in the middle of this crisis.
We'll also have excerpts from our one-on-one interview with Oprah at the Astrodome and her message to evacuees.
And I said, wow, those kids have no toys. And my 4-year-old son said, can I give them mine?
The heart of Houston is clearly visible as we spend time with you, the volunteers.
Plus, the job outlook on the home front, with so many now here needing work.
This is Sheena Lewis. I am looking for John Walter from New Orleans. We are in Houston, Texas.
My name is Elson Neely. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm here standing in front of the convention center looking for my father, my sisters, and my brothers.
Former President Bush has witnessed the enormous undertaking in Houston and believes the city just can't bear this burden alone.
So we sat down to talk about his partnership with some local business leaders to establish the Bush-Clinton-Houston Hurricane Relief Fund. The money will go directly to helping the city meet the needs of Hurricane Katrina victims who are now calling Houston home.
I feel so proud. You're right. I went to the operations center
and I saw all these people working at their posts, medical, logistics, food, whatever. And Houston has come together in a remarkable way. And how can I prove it? I can prove it by the spirit of the people that are on the floor out there, victims of this horrible hurricane, but now they've got a little hope in their hearts, and Houston has given it to them.
The money will be used to pay for housing, jobs, and schools for evacuees. And the president believes this effort could change the way some see Houston.
If they see and could just feel what I felt on the floor over here, I think Houston would be right up in the top of admiration by people. Here's a concern, compassion. All of these things were being demonstrated by volunteers and by the courage of the people themselves. So we got something that's got horrible, the fact that we have to support everybody, but we got something very good, and that is that we are supporting them and giving them hope.
The president has again called on Jim McIngvale to help coordinate the effort as he did with the Tsunami Fund. And Mattress Mac immediately stepped up, committing $300,000 to kick off the campaign.
People are going to see that the essence of living is giving, and so many Houstonians have reached out and given so much during this crisis and will continue to give. I think it's going to change us for the better.
The president acknowledged the government will have to take a hard look at its response to this disaster, and he talked about the need to do a better job next time. But he said now's the time to focus on the families and their future. If you'd like to join the effort to help, you can head to the Houston Hurricane Relief Fund on our website, KHOU.com.
And as you saw earlier, the current President Bush saw more of the damage firsthand today. And for more on that and what's going on in New Orleans, here's 11 News reporter Angela Kocherga in Kenner.
The lines into Jefferson Parish on the outskirts of New Orleans stretched for miles. Residents have until Wednesday to salvage what they can. As they got their first look at the damage, President Bush made his second trip to the devastated Gulf Coast, vowing continued federal help.
So long as anybody's life is in danger, we got work to do.
Celebrities like Sean Penn have joined the rescue effort.
Well, I'm shocked, as everybody is, at the lack of federal response down here. It's beyond comprehension.
Several thousand people are still missing. Some may be trapped in their homes. Others refuse to leave.
We are working with them and talking to them and trying to convince them that there is absolutely nothing here for them to stay. No jobs, no food, or any reason for them to stay.
Angela Kocherga, 11 News.
We are back in 2 minutes with more video from inside Jefferson Parish today.
Plus, an interview with Oprah is coming up next on this expanded edition of 11 News at 10.
My name is Denard Braddock, so I'm looking for my girlfriend. She's 8 months pregnant. Her name is Deanna Nolan. If you know where she's at, please call me at 281-727-9507. Last time I saw her was at the Superdome 4 days ago in New Orleans.
My name is George Reeder. I'm looking for my family at the Convention Center in Houston.
Yep, an otter. If you haven't seen this, here's what's left of Six Flags in New Orleans. The theme park lies halfway between New Orleans and Slidell, and as you can see, it's underwater.
Well, as the search for loved ones goes on, the search has begun for anything that can really be salvaged, as some residents were allowed to return to their homes for the very first time.
11 News reporter Drew Rosingen was in Jefferson Parish as that happened.
You practically need GPS tracking to navigate these streets. Everywhere you go, it seems, a dead end is just a foregone conclusion.
It's devastating, but actually I was expecting worse.
So why are they smiling? Because all these folks have seen the same horrible images of their New Orleans neighbors that you have seen.
Thank God. That's all I can say is thank God.
This is a .40 caliber. But Mark Axton saw those other images from New Orleans, the looting.
So we gotta do what we gotta do.
And he and many of his neighbors are now packing heat.
At night, it's real dark. And with a little bit of gas and other things that we have, we need to protect it. It's a real sense of survival.
Oh, God, it's disgusting.
These folks have just a couple of days to grab clothes and medicine.
My dog's heart guard medicine.
And then it's out by Wednesday, so the power company crews can come in to try to straighten this place out. What people are coming home to are just bizarre, funhouse type images, but it's not very fun.
Water gets under it, and it's a hardwood floor, and so what it does, it just sucks it all up. It's like a sponge.
There's no shortage of celebrities helping in the relief efforts in Houston. Comedian Chris Rock paid a visit to the Houston Food Bank today. On Friday, he'll take part in a benefit concert on BET. Rock came to Houston with Oprah Winfrey, whom we interviewed at the Astrodome.
You've come up out of the storm, and I am here to do a show live from here tomorrow. But we'll continue to tell your story so that nobody forgets what has happened to you, and nobody forgets that you are not refugees, you're not evacuees, you are survivors.
11 News anchor Deborah Duncan sat down with Oprah and asked what she made of all of what's going on.
And everybody here. What hasn't been acknowledged, or maybe it has by other people, but people are still in shock. And as I walked the floor of the Astrodome, people would come up to me and they would just start weeping when they were telling their stories. I understand that, because if you haven't expressed it to anybody, if you haven't said the words, my son is missing, you haven't said the word, I lost everything, when you finally do get that up, pull that up out of your soul and say that, it's overwhelming the first time. This disaster is an opportunity for them to rebuild in a way that I think their lives can be better.
For those people who haven't given yet or haven't done something yet, and I can't imagine who that might be because there's been so many volunteers. That's right. But for people who haven't yet, what do you have to say to them?
No, wait a minute. This is so amazing. Houston's so great that you walk into the Reliance Center and they say no donations because they're overwhelmed. They got it for 6 days.
Right. Oprah was in New Orleans this weekend. The mayor gave her a tour of the putrid Superdome.
It's bad. It's bad even with a mask, I have to tell you.
It's bad. It's not. It's just starting.
And you can see the Oprah Show live from the Astrodome tomorrow. It will air at 4 p.m. here on Channel 11.
It is certainly a case of neighbors helping neighbors as Houston opens its heart to the hurricane victims. For more on that, we're taking you downtown to the Brown Convention Center and 11 News reporter Jeremy Diesel. Jeremy?
Well, Greg, literally there have been thousands of local volunteers who have logged hundreds of thousands of hours inside the buildings where the evacuees are staying. But it's not just local folks, and it's not just inside those buildings where folks are working.
Sweetie, you want a coloring book?
There you go. It's not Christmas Eve, but the sleigh is overflowing. Dolls, toy cars, even tasty treats.
Coming from all over the country.
It seems Santa is from Nebraska.
Santa, corn, and good beef.
And he's shaved.
And my hair's not gray yet either.
Also, Rob Daniels' sleigh isn't magic. The drive took 20 hours, but the sentiment is pure Santa.
There's a little girl that ziplocked each one and put extra outfit, and she wrote Love Brienne on there.
The reaction is too.
All right, God bless you all.
Inspiration comes in small packages too.
I was watching the news with my wife and my 4-year-old boy, and I said, wow, those kids have no toys. And my 4-year-old son said, can I give them mine?
For children who have nothing, something to call their own is everything. Parents can only explain so much.
They don't really know what's going on, you know, but we trying to make sure they all right.
It is the littlest victims, like 6-year-old Deshawn, that brought the summer Santa here.
They've got to have something to hold on to. So that's why I decided to park here and hand it to the kids, because that's rewarding.
Not just here.
You need a meal, you know, you need a nice sandwich or something.
In the shadow of what is now home for the lost tribe of New Orleans is a taste of the familiar.
Yeah, you want a shrimp boy?
With the sights of home then and now all around, New Orleans Cajun Restaurant is an oasis, a place to plan for the future.
What makes those areas special is the attitude of the neighborhood, not the buildings. So that can be brought back.
Prices here are cut to cost for evacuees. It's not about money.
It is a both way. They are enjoying it. I'm surviving.
Optimism is Zahid Mahmoud's most popular dish.
Chicken number 78.
He'll keep serving it with every bowl of gumbo.
As long as it takes. I don't know what's going to be happening tomorrow. Every day is different in this area. So I'm just keeping the positive approach.
Just like across town, where Rob Daniel keeps making faces smile.
I think I'll sleep good tonight.
This Santa has no list. Doesn't care about naughty or nice. He just cares. And it is people like that that make the days bearable for those who have come to our city. Of course, there are several new small cities around town that need volunteers to keep them running. We're told that it takes 750 volunteers just to do food service alone at the various shelters around the city. Live at the GRB, I'm Jeremy Diesel, 11 News.
And now more on the life-saving mission that continues 8 days after Katrina came ashore.
11 News reporter Rudy Koski has been in hard-hit St. Bernard Parish.
Air rescues and house-to-house searches continue in St. Bernard Parish. There are also reunions. Survivors, close friends who are making contact for the first time since the storm.
I would never was strapped. The man was with me. I was at the motors, the channel here watching it all go.
But there are also stories of death. 38 residents of the St. Rita nursing home were killed. They were not evacuated. As the storm surge surrounded the building, some tried to escape to a nearby school. About 28 made it.
I'm telling you, they had people 60, 70 years old that was carrying people on their backs because they knew they had about 3/4 of a mile. They had to go through this raging water if they wanted to live.
Floodwaters in St. Bernard Parish are slowly receding. A back bayou gumbo mix of sewage and muck left behind, as well as evidence of the powerful storm surge. This small cemetery was smashed. Human remains pushed into the woods. Homes are gutted, tossed aside. Others remain swamped. Rescue teams have sliced up St. Bernard Parish into sections to search. Here in Araby, members of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service are looking for survivors. They haven't had much luck today. The bodies of those who died while trapped in attics will remain where they are until a morgue opens. But in one neighborhood, we found a family of 7 camped out on top of their home, refusing to leave. How long do you think you can hold out?
A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Are you willing to do that?
Oh, yeah.
We told them it's going to be a long time before you're going to have any water, electricity, or anything.
There is a certain attitude of defiance here. Local law enforcement officers like Lieutenant Kelly Luga remain on the job.
I would just like to let my family, my mother, all my family just know that I am okay and I am safe.
Why not come out? Why not go be with them?
I'm loyal to my department and my sheriff.
There's a lot of work to do. At the Murphy Oil Refinery, systems preventing an explosion continue to work, but a large oil spill continues to expand. And Sergeant Walter Dorn is upset that the local hospital, where his wife works, may not reopen.
They're going to walk out on us. It's garbage. They are garbage.
No one knows how many died in this parish, but many of those who survived say they will never leave.
We made it.
We'll be back with more in a moment, including a bit of Katrina's economic impact on Houston.
My name is Ida Mitchell. I'm looking for my son, Alfred Chiller, and the mother of my grandkids. Her name is Shiny Chiller, and they have their 5 kids. I want them to let them know where I'm at Astrodome, Astro Superdome. And I want them to be located to help me with these kids, you know, because last time I seen them was last Sunday past.
She is in Houston for sure. No one can say with certainty how many evacuees will still be here a year from now, but if there are thousands, what will that do to our economy and our unemployment rates?
11 News reporter Dave Failing has been looking into that, and he has more on what he's found.
Inside this house in Missouri City,
my skills reference
may be your new co-workers.
Well, of course, you know, I can clean anything. You know, that's
Before Katrina, Samuel Jones was fresh out of the Marines and ready to work.
I got a call from a trucking company.
And then the storm hit.
I mean, that's storm hit, man. We'll be all right.
Jones, his mother, and a half-dozen relatives fled New Orleans and are staying here with his uncle's family. He's already looking for work in Houston with help from a network of ex-Marines.
They have jobs, they know of jobs.
Now multiply guys like Samuel Jones by thousands.
What would it mean to Houston's economy to have tens of thousands of displaced workers looking for jobs here? And what about evacuees who'd already been unemployed for a long time?
Our metropolitan area is quite large, and so 100,000 people is a lot, but it's sort of, maybe a year or two worth of growth.
Economist Stephen Craig predicts evacuees will find work here, though they will temporarily create more competition, especially for low-skilled jobs. But even then, Houston may offer vastly better prospects than they had in New Orleans, where even in good times, nearly 30% had lived in poverty.
It's not really a change in the person so much as a change in their opportunities.
Opportunities to start anew in a city that may be big enough to provide jobs to those who want them. Dave Failing, 11 News.